Hello, it's Derese from Pratt Public Library. I'm here to tell you about our summer maker program. This here brochure is something when you come to sign up for our summer programs, we have a brochure that has all of our summer programs in one spot. Today we're going to be looking at the summer maker program right here in the center. We're going to be making this, the fish float. So here we go. I'm actually going to, let's see, no, we'll just start like this. Okay, so you're going to get one of these just plastic. They're just clear plastic. I think they're called ornaments, you know, that you can stuff. And they have a little place here that you can hold on to or string something through. But what we're going to do is we want to make them look like these fish floats that you see out in the ocean. Isn't that beautiful? Can you believe that that's plastic? I love it. It's beautiful. I'm going to hang some of these up in my sea-themed bathroom. All right, so we're going to make the ball part first. I'm going to take this. Then you're just going to grab some permanent markers of your color choice, whatever you like. I'm grabbing a green color here. And I'm also going to grab this color, a little turquoisey color. And what I'm going to do is just scribble around in there. Just get some of that color. I want this one to be a little more green. This one's kind of a blue-green, but it's a little more blue than green. So this one I'm going to do a blue-green, a little more green than blue. So I'm putting a lot of green scribbles in there. Look at that. I'm just going crazy. Let's go crazy. There you go. On one side and on the other. Put a whole bunch, just scribbling it in there. There we go. Just like that. Put my cap on. Now I'll grab the turquoisey color and do the same thing. I'll probably just do a little bit less of this color. There we go. Like I said, I want this one to be mostly green. So, here we go. Okay. So now I have my scribbles in there. See, mostly green on both sides. Then I'm going to take this little dropper that I have right here, and I'm going to drop in each side just 2 drops. 1, 2, how about 3 drops? Let's go crazy. In each side. 1, 2, 3. And that is alcohol. And then what we will do, you can see it's already making it kind of spread. It just gives it a really cool liquidy effect, and then it'll dry quickly because it's alcohol, and it'll be really cool. So then we're going to snap these 2 together, which it does take a little bit of effort to line it up properly. I'm going to look at it just so. And they do. I guess it takes a little effort, but yeah, they do. They line up together, and then they will snap. There we go, almost. So then when you get them snapped together, just give them a shake. Shake, 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 and let that alcohol just roll all around. Now to me, it's not spreading as quick as I like, so I'm going to undo it, and I'm going to add a couple more drops. 1, 2, the alcohol dries really fast. So I put 2 more drops in each side, is what I did. Okay, which really you could just put the drops in one side because then you're going to snap them together. Alright, get them snapped together like so. Haha, haha, just so. Come on now, don't fail me now. Okay, get them snapped together, and then I'm going to shake and roll. Just want all of that to, I don't want to see any scribble marks. I just want to see all liquidy effect. Really cool. And see, it's just slowly rolling down and around. It looks really great. Trying to come undone a little bit. Okay. There we go. It's rolling around. Now, once I feel that I have no more scribble marks showing, which to me there's a little bit more, then I am just going to, I went ahead and pulled it apart just so I could, it's slowly rolling. I have a few scribble marks right there on that side, so I am going to just roll over that. Now, once I get it to how I like, I'm going to set them like this on a paper towel, just straight up sitting on a paper towel. And here in a little bit, I'll turn them over because that's going to dry rather quickly, and I don't want it to all pool up in one spot. So I'm going to let it sit that way for a little bit, and then I'll turn it. And as you can see, when you turn it, it slowly makes all of these liquidy. Look at that, those streaks. So first you just play around with this a little bit. I still have a couple of scribble marks on my other side. So I'm tipping it so that the alcohol will run over those marker streaks, and I won't have any streaks anymore. It'll just look all liquidy. It's exactly the look we're going for. Okay, so then once I get that, I'm going to set them just straight up like this on the paper towel. And here in just a moment, I'll flip them over. That way it'll pool like down to the center. And then when I flip, and it's mostly done, it's mostly dry there. Then when I flip them over, it'll finish drying. It'll slowly ooze down the sides. Okay, so we'll set that aside and then we'll move to the next step. The next step is going to be doing the macrame knots around it. So we'll start, first we start by doing the knots and then we pull them up around it. So that'll give our two halves time to dry and that alcohol to disperse and it'll look really cool. So we just scoot them to the side for now. All right, I'm going to tilt you down so you can see what we're working on right here on the table. And I'm actually going to have a seat. Okay. So here we go. I'll get you lined up real good. So you will have 7 strands of twine and they'll be folded in half. So you'll use one, make sure your ends are together and it's out straight like that and loop on one side, ends on the other. You're going to use one of these as your anchor and that's what you're going to attach all of the others to. And you'll do the same thing with all of them where you bring the ends together and then you're going to have the loop at the other end. So what we'll do is using this as the anchor, we're going to attach all of these other strands onto here. We're going to put the loop under and then pull the ends through the loop and pull it tight onto that one. And we're going to, you see I left the loop there and then we'll just bring all these the same way. Bring the ends together, loop in the center, loop under, ends through the loop, just like that. And pull it tight onto there. Now we have 2 strands on our anchor strand. 2 knots. We'll do the same thing. Put the loop under and the ends through the loop. Oh, that one wasn't straight. We'll straighten it out. Okay, then pull it tight. So now we have 3 knots on our anchor row right there. Do it again. Pull that through the ends through the loop. Pull it through there. Tight. Now there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got 2 more to go. We'll have 6 attached to the 7th anchor row. Put the loop under. And we'll pull the ends through the loop like that. I'm going to hold this anchor row down so it doesn't move while we're pulling these ones through. Pull them through. Just like that. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last one. There's my ends together. Put my loop underneath my anchor row. And my ends through the loop. Just like that. I'm going to hold the anchor row down while I pull this through. There we go. Now there are 6 knots on this anchor row. And then we're going to do the same thing where we have the loop here with our anchor strand. We're going to pull the ends through there and just pull it tight. So what we should end up with is like a circle with all of these strands all around it. We'll just tighten them all up so that they all look like nice little knots. And look, it's like a flower. There we go. And now we will tie knots with all of these strands to make it look like a flower here. We'll just keep tying knots. All right, so now this part, you just want to make sure you even your strands all out. That anchor row now has become one of your working strands. So now we have 7 working strands right now. And I'm going to give them all a tug to make sure they're nice and snug on there. Looking good. Okay, so now what you do, you lay it out so that you can just make knots. So we're just doing overhand knots where you just wrap it over like that. And then I like to use 2 fingers because then I can spread them apart and we'll pull the ends through there. And you just make your knot. Now, you can decide how far out they are. See, like here's the flower we just started with. And then I brought this one out, probably 2 lady fingers to there. I might make these ones a little bit closer, but wherever you decide to make the knot, you just make all the knots even to that one. So there we go. There's one. I pulled out probably 1 lady finger. Now I'll just move to the next one and do the same thing. An overhand knot, Pull the strands through there. Once you get that through, when you're ready to tighten down that knot, just try to make it about the same distance as that one. And remember, I used one lady finger, so I know I can use my finger as a unit of measurement then to make it even. We're pretty close to even, right? Give it a try. There we go. So now I have 2 knots about 1 lady finger apart. Do it again. Just over the finger. Pull the ends through that knot. Oh, don't want the ones from the next one. Just the 2 from this strand. Okay. I want to make it even with this one. So let's see, about 1 lady finger. Tighten it up a little bit more. Oh, there we go. 3 knots. Oh, that one seems a little further out. Now, if that happens, you can, there we go. I needed to just tighten that part down. But if that does happen, you can undo the knot. It takes a little effort, but you can. You just kind of work it out, work it unloose there, and then tie it again. Just start again. Okay. So I'm going to pause there for a minute. I'm going to do that all the way around, and I'll pick up on the next round. All right, now we're back. We have the first round done. See, we have those knots all evenly spaced. Now, before we move on to the second round, we're going to take a look at our little globes here. Look, that's mostly dry, and look at the cool little shape that we got. Veins. I know it's kind of hard to see, but so I'm going to go ahead and lay it on the paper towel like this. So if there's any of that alcohol left, it'll just roll back down and make more streaks. It looks all marbly and watercolored. I love it. All right, we'll set those aside and we'll move on to the second round. All right, for the second round, what we'll do is we have these knots all with 2 strands in each knot. Now what we're going to do is we'll separate those strands and we're going to join with the one next to it. So we'll take one from this group and one from this group and tie them together. And I'm going to use the same measurement, 1 lady finger space. So I'll bring those 2 together, just like we had the 2 strands together before. We're still doing the same kind of knot, just an overhand knot. Wrap around and pull through the middle. And then once you have that down like that, when you're tightening your knot, that's when you're going to gauge how far apart it is. So, like I said, I'm going to keep using the same unit of measurement, which is my finger. And I'm going to go place it next to those 2 knots, and I'm going to cinch that knot up against the finger, so there is 1 lady finger space. There you go. Now we'll do that again. I'm going to just rotate is what I'm going to do. So I had pulled these 2 strands apart, so I have this one left, and I'm going to rotate and go to its neighbors here, and I'm going to pull those 2 strands apart. Then I'll take this one I'd already taken for the first one, and I'll take this one from the next one. And again, we're just doing an overhand knot where I'm going to wrap it around like that. See, it's wrapped around my fingers. Then I'm going to pull that right up through the middle like that. I'll use my measurer, my finger. I'll put it up against those 2 knots. And then I'm going to cinch this knot down up against the finger. And that one's a little bit too loose, so I'm just going to undo the knot a little bit and bring it down a little further while I'm cinching it up. All right, so pull it down a little further. There we go, a little further, a little further. There we go. And I'll tighten it this way. Okay, make sure I get my unit of measure in there. My finger. And do that. All right, so there we go. It's looking more like a flower now, isn't it? So now I'm going to continue to rotate. And I'll take that 1 strand from that one, and I'm going to borrow 1 strand from the neighbor next door. Split those 2 apart. And grab those together, just like we had in the beginning. Do an overhand knot, or you could say over finger, I suppose. And then I'm going to pull those 2 strands right up through the middle and start to tighten it down like that. Get my measurer out. Put my finger up against those knots like that, and then I will just cinch that one down up against my fingers. Okay, so let's see. Needs to be a little tighter on this side than it is on that side, and that happens sometimes too, where it'll be a little bit tighter on one side than the other. Well, again, you just undo your knot a little bit, and start again. There we go. And now find out which side you need to tug a little bit more and tug that way. You might have to play with it a little bit to decide which one. Yeah, it's this side for me. All right, so then since I figured it out which side it is, then I'll pull that strand tighter so it tightens up like it's supposed to, evenly. So it's great to take a little time to work with it. So because when you put more time into it, your end result is going to look way better. Look at that. It's like we have 3 flower petals already. I'm going to pause there and I'll come back on the next round. All right, and we're back. See how pretty that looks? Nice little flower shape. Makes me think of a poinsettia. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, so for the next round, we do the same thing that we just did. We'll rotate here and we're going to take 1 strand from this side and 1 strand from this side, and those are what we're going to tie together. Do the same way. Over the fingers, up through the middle. There's our knot. Now we're going to slowly cinch it into place, and I will continue to use the same unit of measurement, my finger. But now I'm going to hold them there and just cinch down against my finger. Okay, there we go. And that's how we're going to do that. And we will continue doing that on around. And I'll pick up when we get to the next step. All right, so you can see that it's starting to curve around. And so we're going to check back in with the globe here. We'll snap it together real good. Line those 2 little ends up and then just work your way around it. It'll snap. Okay, and we're going to place that little end right into the little flower in the middle. And we're just going to check in to see how that's coming up. See how it's coming up around? Isn't that great? Looks so great. All right, so then we'll do, just a few more rounds. So just check in and then we just want that net to come all the way up. I suppose one could stop there and do the next step, but I'm going to go ahead and do a couple more rounds. And then we'll check in again to make sure we get to the right spot, and then I'll show you how to finish it off. All right, I've added my last round. I've already checked it out on my fish float to see how it fits, but I wanted you to see what it looks like. We've made a little basket here, and so it's shaped like that. We couldn't lay it flat on the table anymore. We had to just go tip by tip there and tie them together. But that's because we want this to come up around the fish float. So I'll show you how that works. We'll take it and the ends, we're going to stick that down in the original flower we made. Just put it inside your little bag you made and right through that beginning right there. And then we're going to just pull everything tight, gather all of the strands together, all 7 sets, I should say. So 14 single strands. And then we're going to find where that center is. And so just try to get as even as possible. Oops, I dropped one down in there. Okay, there. I have all of the strands together and I pulled them straight. It should be straight up from where the little edge is. And we're going to do another knot. Just the same kind of knot we've been doing, only we're doing with all of the strands. So wrap around and we're going to pull all of the ends through the middle. All of the ends through the middle right there. Okay, got a couple stragglers. So we'll get them pulled through as well. 1 and 2. 1. Okay, now all the ends through there. And we want to have that tight. So that's what's going to keep our net, the bag that we just made, tight around our fish float. And we're just going to cinch that right down on top there. Real tight. And just keep pulling. There we go. And there you have it. It is encased in there. Now you see this one, compared to this one I did a much looser weave, so less knots with this one. Still looks cool, but I like that we have the variety. That's pretty cool. So you can do as many knots or as few as you want. But now I'm going to show you how to end it up. So we have it like this, and we want it to make it so that we can hang it on stuff. So you're just going to divide. You have 14 strands total, so we're just going to take 3 and 3 and 3 on this side, and then what that'll give us is 3 sets of 2 on this side. 2, 2. I guess I did that wrong. Sorry. Because it's multiples of 7, so it'll be 3 and 4. So 2, 2, and 3. And then we'll have... Anyway, you just split them up evenly. And you're going to braid it. And that is as simple as just get them even as you can, whether it's 2 or 3 strands together, and then braid it out. And if you want to have a buddy hold it for you, can, but I just let it just be a really loose braid because we're going to tie it together at the end. So no big deal. It doesn't have to be tight. We're not holding anything in it. It's just bringing it together to make 2 sides to make our hanger. So I'm going to braid this out as far as we can. And some of the strands will probably be a little shorter than others. So just go out as far as you can. And then just make a little knot to hold it. But this one we're going to do really loose because we're going to undo it so we can knot them together. But for now, just doing it like that to hold it while I do the other side. I'll braid this side as well. Again, whether it's 2 or 3 strands, just split them up as even as possible. So I end up with 2, 2, and 3. Okay, and then just braid that again. If you'd like, you can have a friend hold the bulb while you braid, or you can just let it be a real loose braid like what I'm doing here. So it doesn't really need much pressure. I'm just making sure I weave them one over the other, from the right to the middle, to the left to the middle, and just keep going until I get it all the way down to the ends. And remember, some of these strands will be shorter than others. So I'll just stop wherever it stops when we get too short to braid anymore. But I'm going to try to take it out as far as I can. And then what I'll do, here I'll probably have one more turn. Oh, hey, not bad. Then I'm just going to pinch that one. And I'm going to undo this loose one that I just did. And I'll pinch it. I'm going to lay those both together. And it's okay if one's longer than the other. It doesn't matter because we're using it to hang. So I'm just going to bring those together. Lay them flat against each other. And I'm going to do one more big knot just like what we've been doing. And I'm going to get all of those ends through there. All the way through. And then once I have them through, I'm going to pull that all the way out to the end here. Just as there's a few short strands, so I'll just make sure I get them tucked in there. And that's as far as we go. And then you can trim that top off if you want, or you can just leave it wild and crazy. And then there you have something to hang with right there. Look at that. So this one's a little bit longer, but that's how I did a lot more knots with this one. So it just makes a difference on which way you decide to do it. So I can't wait to see what colors your fish floats end up being and how many knots you do and what your nets look like. It'll be great. See you soon.